Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to today's session. So today we are going to discuss the most important schemes and reports of the RBI and when you have to cover these different schemes, when you have to cover the different reports, which reports are going to be more important from the examination point of view. All of this we are going to discuss in today's Finance 360-degree session. Okay, so today's session is again a special session where we are going to discuss that which reports, which schemes of the RBI are very important for you, what you have to cover right now, what you have to leave for later. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, give me a thumbs up if I'm clearly audible and the screen is visible. Okay, and today we will discuss about the different schemes, why they are important, what you have to cover. So let's get started, but before that, do subscribe to the YouTube channel of EduTap so that you continue getting the relevant videos, and do join our Telegram channel where usually you get the PDF of the session. Okay, so now starting with the important schemes. Okay, so first of all, the RBI integrated ombudsman scheme. This is a very important scheme of the Reserve Bank of India, and this you have to do right now. Why? Because the update has already been released. So the RBI has issued the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme 2026. So you can see that the update has been released by the Reserve Bank of India, and this is after 2 years that the RBI has released, 2-3 years that the RBI has released the update. So the scheme was released and then the update has been released now, and this is the RBI integrated ombudsman scheme 2026 that you have to cover. Okay, so as the RBI has released the revised scheme, and this is going to be in force from July 1, 2026. So you can understand that this integrated ombudsman scheme is again going to be in news in July. So this will be very important from the examination perspective. Even if your notification is, let's say, coming in June, the phase 1 happens in July, then also this scheme is going to be important. Even if your notification comes in July and exam happens in August, then also this scheme is going to be important, as this is going to come into force from July 1, 2026. Okay, and this has been recently updated by the Reserve Bank of India. Similarly, the RBI internal ombudsman scheme is also very important from the examination perspective, as it has been updated. The whole scheme has been updated in 2026, in January 2026, and this is the new scheme that we can say that the RBI has released. So RBI Internal Ombudsman Directions 2026. So this scheme was present before also, but now the RBI has revamped the whole of the scheme, and this is the RBI Internal Ombudsman Directions 2026. So this scheme also becomes very important from the examination point of view. Now coming to the lead bank scheme, this is what you have to leave right now. This is not something that you should do. So the integrated ombudsman scheme, the internal ombudsman scheme, that you should cover right now, that you have to cover right now. You can cover it in the month of March only, so try to cover it as soon as possible. But lead bank scheme is a scheme that you have to leave right now. Why I am saying so? Because a statement on developmental and regulatory policy, so in the statement on developmental and regulatory policy document that was released in February 2026, the RBI informed that the RBI is going to revise the lead bank scheme. Like the RBI has revised the integrated ombudsman scheme, the internal ombudsman scheme. Similarly, the RBI is going to revise the lead bank scheme. So in February 2026, the RBI has informed that there is going to be the updated, revamped lead bank scheme that will be released by the Reserve Bank of India. So RBI has undertaken a detailed review of the existing guidelines on the lead bank scheme. It is now proposed to issue a comprehensive set of instructions for the scheme. Okay, so this is expected to significantly enhance the data quality, provide better insights toward achieving the objective of lead bank scheme. So lead bank scheme is going to be revamped. That's why you can leave it for later and when the final guidelines are released. So basically the draft guidelines were released for the lead bank scheme in the Feb itself, but the final guidelines will be released by the end of the March or by the start of the or end of the April. Okay, so right now you do not have to cover the lead bank scheme. When the final guidelines are released, then you have to cover the lead bank scheme. Okay, so for now leave the lead bank scheme. Whenever the final guidelines are released, then you have to cover the lead bank scheme. Next is RBI Retail Direct Scheme. This is a very important scheme. In 2023, RBI Grade B Phase 2 examination, there was a direct question from the RBI retail direct scheme in the descriptive part, even though this scheme was not in use. So you can understand that this is a very, very important scheme of the Reserve Bank of India that you have to understand, that you have to cover thoroughly. Okay. Then coming to the liberalized remittance scheme, this scheme has the tendency to be in news again, like day after and month after month. Okay, so liberalized remittance scheme is the scheme that is quite in use, as well as this is a very important scheme of the Reserve Bank of India. It is very important from the perspective of the foreign transactions also. And there was a question in 2023 RBI Grade B phase 2 examination. There was an objective question from this particular scheme also. So this scheme is also very important and it keeps in news. Okay, now what you have to leave, PIDF scheme is something that you have to stop studying now. Why is it so? Because in 2023 December, the RBI announced that this scheme is going to be extended till December 2025. Now the December 2025 has passed on and RBI has not announced this scheme again. RBI has not informed about its extension also. So that means the PIDF scheme is no longer available now. If RBI releases a article later on, if the RBI releases the notification later on regarding its extension, then this scheme can become important. But right now the scheme has finished. Okay, so basically the PIDF scheme was extended in December 2023. This was announced that the PIDF scheme is now being extended by 2 years up to December 31st, 2025. So now December 31st, 2025 has passed on and there is no further news of the extension for the PIDF scheme. So we can understand that the PIDF scheme has been phased out, it has been removed, and if a news come later on, if a notification comes later on regarding the extension that is further provided to the PIDF scheme, then the scheme will become important. Otherwise, the scheme has finished its tenure. Okay, so PIDF scheme is something that you can leave now. It was one of the most important schemes of the Reserve Bank of India, from which like year after year RBI was asking the questions in the phase 1, in the phase 2 of the examination. But now this scheme tenure has finished. Okay, so this is not important now. So which schemes you have to cover in the recent period? The RBI integrated ombudsman scheme. This you can cover in July also, because from July it is going to be from July the scheme is going to be applied on. But I will suggest you that cover it right now. Do not leave it for later. Okay, the RBI internal ombudsman scheme also you have to cover right now. The RBI retail direct scheme, liberalized remittance scheme, you have to cover right now. Lead bank scheme you have to cover when the final directions are released, and the PIDF scheme you have to leave. Okay, now coming to the reports. Now these are the reports that are directly mentioned in the syllabus of the RBI Grade B 2025 notification. Okay, so RBI annual report on trend and progress of banking in India, report on currency and finance. Now which reports you have to cover right now, or which reports are important, which reports are not so important? So first of all, any confusion anyone has in the schemes? Any confusion? No? Okay, so now coming to the reports, starting with the report on currency and finance. Okay, so the report on currency and finance, from this a direct question came in the RBI Grade B 2023 phase 2 examination. So there was a descriptive question from the report on currency and finance, and this report is considered very important. But the thing to note is that this report was last released in July 2024. That means this report was not released in 2025, and that's why it did not come in the 2025 RBI Grade B examination. Do we expect this report to be released in 2026? Yes, we expect this report to be released in 2026 in July. Okay, in July. So if this report is released in July 2026, and if your notification is coming in June, if the phase 1 happens in July, if the phase 2 happens in August, then this report will be very, very important from the phase 2 perspective. If the notification comes in July and the phase 1 happens in August, the phase 2 happens in September, then also this report will be very, very important. So report on currency and finance, do you have to cover the 2024 edition? That is not required from the examination point of view. But if the 2026 edition is released, that will become immensely important for your phase 1, for your phase 2. Now, there is one suggestion that I will provide you, that even though a direct question cannot come or will not come from the 2024 edition, but I will suggest you that do give it a read. Why is it so? Because in the report on currency and finance of 2024, there was discussion regarding the India's digital revolution, digitalization and financial innovation, digitalization and payment revolution in India, open economy digitalization, challenges, opportunities, tackling the emerging risk and challenges. So there is a detailed discussion about the digitalization that is very, very important. From the RBI perspective, you need to know that how the digital revolution has happened. What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? The digitalization and the financial innovations that have happened. So for your general, like you read editorials, for perspective building, for getting new ideas. Similarly, you can read this report, just the crux of the report or just the overview you can have of this report, to know more about digitalization, to know more about the digital revolution that you can use in your answer writing later on, or that you can use in your interview. Okay, so this report is not directly important from the examination point of view. You can leave it for sure, but I will suggest you that do give it a overview, do give it a brief read, so that you have more ideas regarding the digital revolution. You have more stronger or a stronger perspective regarding the digital revolution. Okay, now coming to the annual report. So report on currency and finance, if it is released in 2026, it will be the most important report, I can say. Okay, now coming to the RBI annual report. So see, annual report and the report on trend and progress of banking in India, these two reports are the statutory reports that have to be released on the yearly basis. So year after year, these two reports have to be released. So report on currency and finance, it is not a statutory report. That's why it was not released in 2025, and that is fine. It might be released in 2026, it might not be released in 2026, but the annual report and report on trend and progress of banking in India, these are statutory reports. That is the legal responsibility of the RBI to release these reports. Okay, so the annual report was last released in May 2025, so it will be released in May 2026. Again, this will become a very important report from your phase 1, from your phase 2 perspective. Okay, so in 2025 RBI Grade B examination, this report did not this report was less important, because you can understand that the report was released in May and your phase 1 was in October, phase 2 was in December and such. So that's why there was a long gap between the report and the phase 1 and the phase 2 examination. That's why the annual report was not so important for the RBI Grade B 2025 examination. But if the report is releasing in May and your exam happens in July or August, then this report becomes very important, because this report is just released in the 2-3 month of the time frame before the examination. So the reports that are released 2-3 months before the exam, so these reports are very important. So annual report, it might not have been so important for the RBI Grade B 2025 examination, but the annual report of the RBI will be very important for the RBI Grade B 2026 if the exam happens in July, in August. So as soon as the report releases, you have to cover this report. Okay, so right now, do you have to cover the previous report of May 2025? No need. You have to focus on the new edition that will be released in May 2026. Okay, chalo. Now, coming to the report on trend and progress. Now, annual report will be released in May 2026, so you have time. You can cover the new report. But what about the report on trend and progress of banking in India 2024-25? This report will be released in December 2026. Now, the new edition will be released in December 2026. So, should you cover this previous edition of December 2025? Okay, so I will suggest you that you can give an overview, but you do not have to go through all the facts, you do not have to go through all the points. Why is it so? Because the report on trend and progress of banking in India consists of the facts which will get updated through the annual report that will be released in May 2026. That will be the new edition. So report on trend and progress of banking in India, even if the exam happens in July, even if the exam happens in August, this report on trend and progress of banking in India released in December 2025 will lose its relevance. As I have told you that RBI reports that are released 3 to 6 months before the examination, especially 3 to 5 months, I can say. Before the examination, those RBI reports are the most important. So this annual report will be very important. If the report on currency and finance is released in June 2026, that will be very important, okay? So this report on trend and progress of banking in India, this was released in December 2025. The next edition will be released in December 2026 when the exam would have finished. So that's why the previous edition is not so important. If you want to give it a read, give the overview, but do not focus on the facts, because the facts will be updated in the new reports of the RBI, okay? So this is the idea. So now financial stability report, again, do you have to cover the December 2025 edition of the financial stability report? No, because the financial stability report is released on the half yearly basis. That's why the June 2026 edition of the financial stability report will be very important, even if the exam happens in July, even if the exam happens in August. If the phase 1 happens in July, phase 2 happens in August, or it shifts 1 month, then also the new financial stability report will be very, very important, that you have to focus on. So what is the idea? That right now you do not have to cover any report. If you want to build your perspective regarding digital revolution, digitalization, you can read, you can give an overview to the report on currency and finance 2024 edition, just for your basic understanding. Do not have to focus on from the factual point of view. This report is not important from the factual point of view. This report is not important from the examination point of view directly. Just to build your perspective, you can read this report. Coming to the annual report, that you have to cover the May 2026 edition. Forget about the previous one. The report on trend and progress, again, this report is not very important from the examination point of view. You can give an overview, but do not focus on the facts, okay? Coming to the financial stability report, June 2026 edition will be important. You can wait for that edition. The previous edition is not required. So this is regarding the reports. Any confusion, anyone? Now, any confusion, anyone in the report section? One important point that I will provide you is that before the examination, just before the examination, even if the phase 1 happens in July, phase 2 happens in August, let's say, just before the examination, 3 to 5 months, especially this 3 months zone, whichever report is released by the committee of the RBI also, that report will also be important. Why is it so? Because I hope you remember that in the phase 1 of the 2025 RBI Grade B examination, as well as the phase 2 of the 2025 RBI Grade B examination, in the phase 1 there was an objective question regarding the free AI report that was released by the RBI. That was a report of the committee of the RBI. In the phase 2 there was a descriptive question regarding the AI, regarding the ethical use of the AI and such. This was also from the free AI report. That was the report of a committee of RBI. So you can understand that this free AI report, it was released just before the examination, just before the phase 1 examination, 1 month or 15 days, 1 month before the examination, okay? So you can understand that this report, if a report is released in the timeline of the 3 months near to the examination, even if it is the report of the RBI directly, let's say annual report or the financial stability report, report on currency or currency and finance, or it is the report of a committee of RBI, the report that is released just before the examination becomes very, very important. Free AI report, from this the question has come in the phase 1, from this the question has come in the phase 2, the descriptive question has come in the phase 2. So remember, if even the committee of the RBI is releasing a report before the examination, that report becomes important, especially if it is regarding such kind of topics like the AI, digital revolution and such. I hope making sense. Any confusion now? Anyone? So this is it. I will take your queries if you have any. So I've informed you that which are the most important schemes that you have to cover now, which you should leave for the future. And I have informed you about the reports also, which are the important reports that you can cover through an overview only, where you have to forget about the facts, which reports you have to cover in the future, as well as I've told you that before the examination, like think about it, that let's say the phase 1 happens in July. So whichever reports are released 3 months before July, those reports will be very, very important, even if they are the reports directly of the RBI, even if they are the reports of a committee of RBI, doesn't matter, they will be very important. Okay, no confusion then. I hope you enjoyed the session. So this is it. If there is any confusion, you can also comment down below. Okay. So thank you everyone. Thank you for joining the session. I hope you enjoyed the session. If there is any confusion, shall you suggest points area of RBI annual report? RBI annual reports, I will take a detailed session on the RBI annual report in May 2026 when it is released. Okay. So as soon as the annual report of RBI is released, the new edition is released, I will take a session on that. And then I will inform you about the important areas, important points that you have to remember from the examination point of view. Yes, I will be covering the important schemes of the RBI in YouTube. And I will be covering the important reports of RBI in YouTube. Okay, the important points. Internal ombudsman scheme. For this, I have already taken a session. The internal ombudsman scheme, I have taken a session. For the integrated ombudsman scheme, I am thinking to take a session in June because it will be launched, or it will be applied from July onwards. Okay, so I'm thinking to take a session on a later on date for the integrated ombudsman scheme, so that near to the examination you are able to get the session and you are able to recall everything, recall all the points. Right now you can think that phase 1 might happen in the June. Maybe the notification will be released in June. Sorry, maybe the notification will be released in June and the phase 1 happens in July, but it can be shifted further for 1 month or 2 months. Maybe the notification will release in July and the exam happens in August. The phase 1 happens in August. So prepare from the perspective that you have to give the phase 1 in July. Then you will be able to prepare in a faster manner, as well as you will have that clock in mind that, okay, I have to complete my static, I have to start with my current affairs in this timeline. Okay, so think that your phase 1 will happen in July. Then you will have that mental clock. Okay, so this is it. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and let's meet on Saturday now. Thank you everyone. As well as before leaving the session, let me inform you that Friday you have a revision session with me. So monthly, I will be taking the monthly revision session for your Feb 2026. Okay, so there will be on Friday, that is on 27th March. On 27th March, you will have a monthly revision session with me for February 2026. Okay, so in this monthly revision session for February 2026, we will discuss the most important finance current affairs, the most important RBI notifications from the examination point of view. So